All right, welcome to Mr. Joy Rider Gaming. It's your boy Jared, and we are doing today a top 10 list of one of my favorite games of all time. It's called Pengo. It's from Sega, and who doesn't like being a penguin and crushing people with ice cubes? It's a great game, and we're going to count down the top 10 best ports coming up right here. All right, so Pengo is a game from 1982, released September 26th, 1982 in Japan by Sega, where you control a penguin and you're trying to stop the snow bees. Those are the blob guys, and you have to kill all the blob guys before you can move on to the next level. I like it because there are several different types of gameplay. You can push the ice blocks, you can break the ice blocks, you can move the special blocks together, which give you a bonus, and then mostly it should freeze the snow bees, and you're able to get them that way. You can vibrate the wall with your beak, and that freezes the snow bees if they're touching the wall. A lot of different fun ways to do this. I would not call it a puzzle game so much. It's more of, they call it a maze game online, I guess so. Not really a maze either, it's just, it's Pengo is what it is. So today we're going to rank the top 10 best ports of Pengo. Now, the reason why I'm doing 10, I know there's a couple of others that I'm going to not cover, but these are the 10 best that I was able to find. I've been playing this game since I was 5 years old, and we had it for the Atari 5200. It came out in 1983 for the Atari 5200. So I have a lot of experience with this game. I'll tell you what, still after all this time, it's still a ton of fun. And it's challenging, and all the ports are a little different, so let's get into it. Alright, so we're going to start with the worst, as always, and this is by far the worst of the bunch for the ZX Spectrum, for the Sinclair Spectrum, and it is a version of Pengo that barely even resembles the game. At first, it looks kind of interesting. Everything's squashed down, sort of, much smaller. You're not even a penguin, you're a little green guy, and the thing about this is maybe I just wasn't getting it to work right, but unlike traditional Pengo, this version, it seems like it pretty much goes on forever. The snow bees just keep on respawning, and it doesn't seem to do anything if you push the yellow blocks together, and the levels don't seem to change at all. And not only that, it doesn't look and it doesn't play well. It just seems half done. So maybe something on my end. I wasn't able to get it to work right, but either way, it's number 10 on the list because of all that. This is Pengo for the ZX Spectrum. Alright, next we've got the number 9 slot, and it's for Pengo for the Amiga. Certainly this one was not worth the effort to get it to work. I just have a lot of trouble getting the Amiga games to work, and that's not why it's getting number 9 on the list. It's getting number 9 because it's just not really Pengo. It doesn't play like Pengo. There is something good about it. The good thing is that you can play 2 players at the same time, multiplayer. I couldn't figure out how to get to be only 1 player, so they're just swarming on the player number 2. There's no walls to vibrate, so that's no good. You're not able to do that. You're not able to... The screen sort of scrolls, and the bottom of it is sort of cut off, and the snow bees, they're not able to, as far as I know, they're not able to break the blocks. So all they do is chase you. In a way, it's sort of like a very high-speed version of Pac-Man in that way, where you can throw blocks at them. It was one of the most radically different versions of Pengo that are on this list, and, I'd say skip it. Number 9. All right, let's move on to number 8. Number 8, Pengo for the Commodore 64. I've got good news from here on out. from this point onward, they're all good. They're all fun, and they all play well, and I like every one of them. It was kind of hard ranking them all and finding reasons why this one's better than that one or that one's better than this one. All right, so already, you turn it on, and you can tell this looks exactly like what you'd expect. It looks very similar to the 8-bit Atari versions, and it plays well. It's slow, but that's not a problem. It's this game's better slow than it is at super hyperspeed. It has all of the things that make it Pengo. The graphics are a little, simplified, but otherwise it's a great version of Pengo, and I would recommend it. I like this version, and look, if number 8, and we're already on to good ones, that's pretty good. All right, Pengo, C64, number 8. All right, next up, number 7, we've got Pengo for the BBC Micro or the Acorn Electron. This is a very good version of the game as well. Plays a lot like the arcade. Looks like the arcade in a way, and it plays like the arcade version. It's got everything you'd want from the game. The speed of this game is amped up. It really is. It's ramped up. But I don't know if that's just maybe a setting on the emulator or what. But yeah, it plays well. It was easy to get it to work, and has the... You can vibrate the boundary. You can connect the blocks. You can throw ice. It's a good version of the game. If this was the only one you had, yeah, it's great. I'd play this one all the time. And so that's why I give this one it's number 7 on our list. All right, moving on to number 6, and this was a kind of a dark horse one because it is what it is. But I almost wanted to rank this one higher just because it's so cool. It's probably the second coolest port for the entire thing. This is Pengo for the Bandai Electronics handheld. It's not a system; it's a handheld. It's a handheld game, and this is released in 1983. Took 4C batteries to play, but man. The game, you got everything you want from a Pengo game. Very stripped down. I've played other ones of these. I played games similar. It's kind of like the Game & Watch Gallery, or there's a Pac-Man and a Donkey Kong one, and a few others that I've played as well. And this one works very, very good for the type of game that it is. As you see, it doesn't have I believe it doesn't have the vibrating the border thing, but you can jam the 3 blocks together. You can smash the snowbees. You move pretty well. You go where you're supposed to go. It's easy to push blocks. And if I had this on the handheld, I would really enjoy taking this on a trip and playing it or something like that. But just on an emulator, this is being played on the MAME arcade emulator. It plays really great, and it's one that I think I'll come back to just because it's so unique and kind of fun. It's number 6 for the Bandai Electronic handheld version of Pengo. All right, let's head to 1984. We're looking at number 5 now on the list, and this is Pengo for the Atari 2600. And remember when I said earlier that we've reached the point where all the Pengo versions are good? They are. They're all good. They're all, from this point on, all different. This one, again, it's hard to rank where exactly it should go. I put it as number 5 because the top 4 are so good, and the only reason is because of the graphics, which I find, charming, by the way, but they're not as good as some of the other versions coming up. And it has everything you want from Pengo. It's got the eggs inside the blocks. It's got the 3 blocks together. It's got the vibrating wall. It's got the snow bees in different levels of skill, and it plays really, really well. especially for an Atari 2600 game. You know, often a bad reputation, or a reputation for overly simple games, or simple, shovelware or whatever. But this is a great version of Pengo, and if it's the only one you ever had, I think you'd enjoy it. And I played it for like 45 minutes just on this run. All right, so that's number 5, Atari 2600. It's Pengo. I should change the name of the channel to the Overly Enthusiastic Gamer. All right, number 4 on the list, we've got Pengo for the Sega Game Gear. So this is another portable or a handheld version of the game, and this is another one that I gotta tell you is a heck of a lot of fun. This is a very good version of the game. Very close to the arcade in a way. It's a little bit different because the screen's kind of really squashed together, but it plays just like the arcade version. The speed on this one is much faster than some of the other ones. Graphics are great, and it's fun to play the handheld version on a big screen. So this is a great version of the game for Game Gear, Pengo for Game Gear. The only thing I would say is that since it was originally released in 1982, I think by the time Game Gear came out, by the time you're playing Game Gear, you might want more out of a game, more out of your system than this version. But because it's 1992 that it came out, so we're talking 10 years later, and it's the same gameplay as the arcade, which I dig. But if you're like a little kid and you got this as a present, maybe you wouldn't like it as much. Blocks are really small, which is kind of fun. Everything seems to move really quickly, and another addicting one. So I rank this one at number 4 on the list. All right, now I didn't know if it's not a port. This is the actual game. This is the arcade version, so I should call it 10 best versions. But this is Pengo for the arcade, the original version that came out in 1982. This was published by Sega, and this is the quintessential version of the game. The best thing about this game is that the screen is, you can see the entire screen. It's a vertical screen. There's nothing cut off, no scrolling or anything like that. It's just a screen. It reminds me of Bubble Bobble in that way, or like Bomb Jack when that was out. It's a one screen, and everything's encompassed in that. Has everything that all Pengo games should have. Because it is an arcade game, the arcade version, it's hard, fast, and it is fast. It's hard and fast. It's fast. It's a challenge. This would be a quarter muncher. This would definitely be one that you would be putting a lot of quarters into. But this is the first one. This is the game so you're saying, how can there be 2 better after this? Well, I'll let you know. Coming up. Okay, we're at number 2, and for all fairness, this version of the game, Sega Genesis, 1995, it should probably be number 1. I put the number 1 slot as my favorite version of the game, but if we're ranking best, this is probably the best game, and I'll tell you why. First of all, the cart has 2 different games on it. It's got a story mode, and it's got the arcade mode. The story mode is 1,000,000% almost not Pengo. It's so different. It's like an absolute sequel to Pengo. So let's start with the arcade version first. In the arcade version, it is that. It looks a lot like the Game Gear version. The blocks are a little bigger. And the negative here, why I didn't put it at number 1, is because the scrolling screen is vertical scroll is a little bit difficult to play the game on, because you don't know what's beneath you. You don't know what's under the current screen, and so it makes it a little bit difficult. It doesn't make it any less fun. It doesn't make it any less cool and cute. It's just a little thing. Otherwise, it's pretty much the arcade port. So you got that. It's the arcade version. And then on the other side, you've got the story mode. And normally, you know, story mode, it's not that much different of a game. Well, this one is extremely different. In fact, it's kind of more like the Amiga version than any other game on this list, because there are certain things you can't do. First of all, you can make ice cubes, which is a brand new feature. There's no vibrating the walls on this level. There's certain blocks you can't move. You've got to bust other blocks into those blocks. The special blocks, that you can smash them, and they have like power-ups and things inside. And the villains are not Snobies. In this case, there's walruses on this level. The next level is dinosaurs, and it takes it completely out of the ice realm and puts it in, you know, the prehistoric times, and you're facing off against pterodactyls and triceratops and things like that. A little bit confusing because, you know, you're used to playing the other versions of the game, but this is the game that will not only fulfill your need to have the arcade version, but it would also fulfill your need to have a game that you can keep coming back on, a lot of replay value. It even has a password system, so you can keep playing it. It's excellent. It took me a little while to get a hang of it. I don't really think I actually did get the hang of it, but if I go back to it, I can maybe get better. But yeah, this is a great version of Pengo, just because it's so different. You've got two completely different versions, the arcade version and this crazy story mode version that I think I would say it's worth the price of admission. You're buying a Genesis game in 1995, you're expecting something that's high caliber, and this delivers. It's great. It's Pengo, and it's number 2 on my list of top 10 Pengo games of all time. All right, going over our list, number 10 is Pengo for the ZX Spectrum. Number 9, the Amiga. Number 8, C64. Number 7, the BBC Micro. Number 6, the Bandai Handheld. Love that one. Number 5, the 2600. Number 4, Game Gear. Number 3, the original arcade version. Number 2, Genesis. And number 1, let's hear it for number 1. It is the Atari 5200 version, or the Atari 8-bit version. They're both really the same game, like exactly. But the Atari 5200 version is the version that I grew up on. It's the game that I used to sit around with my family. I'm 5 years old, and we're all sitting around a TV playing Atari games, and we're playing the Atari 5200 version of Pengo. To this day, it is the only video game that I ever saw my mom ever play. She loved this game. I like this game. You know, it's the competition between two players is a lot of fun in this game. It moves slow, which I think is a benefit for this game, because you got to kind of think ahead, and so it's nice to be able to do that by a slower version of the game. The screen is huge, the characters are big, everything works the way it should. This to me is the quintessential version of Pengo. I really love this version, and just getting ready to make this video, I played it for 20 minutes last night when I was supposed to be going to bed because I had to work in the morning. So it's a lot of fun. I think I'll play it after I'm done with this too. So this is my number 1 choice, Pengo, for the Atari 5200, the Atari 8-bit computer. This is the best of the bunch as far as I'm concerned. If you're not an Atari guy or Atari girl, you might want to go for the Genesis version, but this version is the one that I like the best. Well, that's it, Pengo, and like I said, it's one of my favorite classic retro games, and I say retro before Super Mario, you know what I mean? It's older than Super Mario, it's retro, and I love this game. Check it out if you haven't. Try out the different versions. Tell me which one you think is best. If you disagree, that's cool. I'm not claiming to be the expert. I just know that I really enjoyed this game. All right, well, I'll come back at you next week, and we'll do another top 10, or we'll do a rating video. We will certainly have new content for you. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, there are new gameplay videos where I play games, mostly retro games. So we're talking, well, I say all retro games, nothing newer than like the 16-bit era. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right here on the channel. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Subscribe, like, share, be cool, and I will see you when I see you. So as always, I say, have a good day, good luck, God bless, good day, sir.